Hey, so here's a question, or it's an answer to a question we get all the time here at Legal Edge. Okay, and that question is why, in a coaching program that's designed to build law firms and help you grow and manage your own firm and growing it to, however big you want it to be, right? 7 figures, 8 figures. Why do we spend so much time, or even any time at all, talking about our home life? Right? Talking about your relationship with your wife and with your kids, or even focusing on being healthy or your connection with God. Why do we spend any time at all on this rather than everything on business? And here's the answer. And I'll tell you quite simply, because it matters. And if your home life is out of control, if you're worried about your health, if you're worried your wife is going to divorce you, or your kids hate you and they yell and scream at you and you don't feel valued by them, then guess what? I can guarantee that you are not going to be able to run your firm and grow it as well as you could if those things were under control. It's simple and easy. I mean, I can think about it in my own life, right? I had one of the worst quarters I ever had when I was buying a house, right? Because I was distracted. And that's not even a very emotional thing. It's just buying and selling a house. But think about yours. When I had kid issues, right? When the kids were younger in high school, when we had a difficulty with one of them, that distracted me. Did it do it for a whole quarter? No, but it distracts you for a day or 2 or 3 or 4. And trouble with your spouse, like your wife, that happens, it can distract you for months or even years. I've seen it happen to lawyers where they really bottomed out their practice because they had issues with their spouse, and that drug on for 2 or 3 years until finally they got a divorce and they began to recover. Whereas they would have had all those 3 years of growth if they had worked on their marriage even just a little bit, okay? Even just a little bit as much as they worked in their business. If your home life is out of control, if your health is out of control, if your kids hate you, or you are afraid you and your spouse are about to get a divorce and you don't work on that, you will never grow as much as you want to. There will always be an upper limit. Why? Because you're distracted. You can't give your focus. You don't even, that emotional energy associated with everything going on at home, it's going to bleed into your workday. You're going to be distracted. There's just no way around it. So that's the reason why we spend time in the Legal Edge talking to you about these issues, right? Talking about your body, talking about your relationship with your wife and your kids, making sure it's all set up and making sure that part of your life is growing as well and not acting as an anchor holding you down. Because honestly, how many of us would, even if your law firm is crushing it and you're making tons of money, right? Millions of dollars, if you and your wife are fighting or your kids hate you, or your body's in such terrible shape you're afraid you're going to die, that's not even what you want. Most people would trade all that money for what? To have a great relationship with their wife and kids, to have a great body, be healthy. And what we're telling you here at the Legal Edge is you don't have to trade it away. You can have a growing, crushing it law firm as well as have these things in abundance. It just takes work in each area of your life, all right? So that's Shane from the Legal Edge. I'll talk to you soon.